The saint was assigned his own church in the centre of the city, right next door to the Doge's palace. This was a clear indication of who was in charge of the lagoon. Although Venice had had its own bishops for 2 generations, they'd all been banished to a church somewhere on the outskirts of the city. As long as the Republic existed, St. Mark's Basilica would never become a cathedral or bishop's seat. There's nothing left of the first basilica. It was engulfed in flames in the year 976 during a Venetian insurgence against the tyrannical Doge Candiano IV. This is a very telling detail. In Venice, the Doge was elected by city noblemen, and a family or a Doge was never allowed to become too powerful. For this reason, an ever more complex political system was formed over the centuries: a senate, a council of elders, a large council, a small council, a council of 40, a council of 10, all keeping one another in check. Before long, the Doge was no longer a ruler, but merely the supreme representative who embodied the greatness of the Republic. His chapel was St. Mark's Basilica, the state church of Venice, a significance that had to be conveyed by its appearance. This is why the Doge Domenico Contarini laid the foundation stone for a completely new church in the year 1063. The basilica destroyed by fire had already been rebuilt and now became the crypt for the new, larger and more magnificent St. Mark's Basilica. We no longer know who Contarini appointed to build the church. Perhaps he was a Greek. In any case, he was very familiar with Byzantine tradition and modelled the basilica on the Church of the Holy Apostles in Constantinople. The floor plan is based on a Greek cross, with each arm of the cross the same length and crowned by 5 domes, 1 over each arm and 1 over the crossing. But here the longitudinal axis of the cross is accentuated, which is typical of a Western basilica. So even the layout shows the fusion of Orient and Occident that makes Venice unique. The mosaic artists began working while the church was still under construction. They'd go on to make St. Mark's Basilica a truly inimitable creative feat. These artisans also adhered to the Byzantine tradition. The transition from the outside world is made via a vestibule or narthex. The mosaics here depict the creation story and tales from the Old Testament, which in the Bible foreshadow the coming of the Messiah. After this preparation, you enter the church proper and are overwhelmed. High above the altar, an enthroned Christ as Pantocrator, or the All-Powerful, blesses the church. With this figure as focal point, the domes and vaults of the main axis relate the central story of Christianity. The prophets announcing the coming of the